On the outskirts of Yemen's capital Sana'a, a family waits for news from the ongoing talks in Sweden. Khaled al-Hayth is one of thousands of prisoners of war. His family hopes representatives of the government and Houthi rebels will agree on a prisoner swap.
We call upon our brothers who are negotiating in Sweden to consider and understand the feelings of the citizens and the detainees, and to understand how vulnerable and weak the prisoners are.
The exchange of prisoners is just one of many issues on the agenda at the talks outside the Swedish capital, Stockholm.
The parties have agreed to prepare a mechanism for the exchange of 15,000 prisoners with the participation of the International Red Cross, which will offer the logistical support.
Another is the port city of Hodeidah, controlled by the Houthis and under attack for months by Saudi and UAE coalition forces. A large portion of humanitarian aid is shipped to Hodeidah. The Houthis say they are willing to let the UN oversee port operations. But the Yemeni government, backed by the Saudis and Emiratis, is threatening to resume its offensive to capture Hodeidah if the talks in Sweden fail. 80,000 Yemenis are estimated to have been killed by fighting or airstrikes, as well as a cholera epidemic and lack of food during the 4 years of war. Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch say coalition forces have committed war crimes by bombing and indiscriminately killing and injuring civilians. Amnesty also accuses the UAE of illegally detaining Yemenis in nearly 24 secret prisons, as well as forced disappearances and torture. UAE denies all allegations. The families of POWs say the talks are a chance to end their ordeal.
We've been suffering for 3 years. We've been hurt a lot. My kids and my family are suffering. Only God Almighty knows the volume of suffering and pain we are facing.
The United Nations humanitarian chief says living conditions in Yemen are catastrophic, where 20 million people are on the brink of famine, making it the world's worst humanitarian crisis. Paul Chaderjian, Al Jazeera.